Coming at you from Bellingham, Washington. This is Two Nuts in the Sack. I'm Julie.
I'm Gavin. Here we go.
It's me, a Mario.
So, I'd like to add a new segment at the top of our show. And I think that this can be an important one. Now, we don't have to do it all the time, but being human beings, we're not perfect. We make mistakes.
Especially me.
Mostly.
I don't deny that.
But these mistakes need a course correction. So that's my new suggestion for a new segment at the top of the show. Course corrections. What say you, wife?
I agree.
Okay. Our very first course correction is for the last episode of the top 10 Batmen. I overlooked and was dismissive of one of our top 10 Batmen, Olan Soule. We thought that he may have been the first Batman circa 1926, but that didn't make much sense because Batman didn't come out until 1938. So I didn't quite understand where he fit into the Batman mythos. So I did a deep dive. Here's what I found out. Born in 1909, started his career in 1926, and carried on until 1991 as a character and voice actor, including his run as the Cape Crusader that spanned 12 years. From 1968 to 1980, he provided the voice of Batman in several animated series. From the first in 1968 on the Batman and Superman Hour to the Adventures of Batman and the new Scooby-Doo movies in 1970, almost all incarnations of the Super Friends made in the 70s, and culminating in the 80s when he was actually in an episode as an anchorman on the news, co-starring with Adam West. So, I'm sorry, Olan Soule. Please forgive me. Course corrected. So what do we have to talk about today?
We're going to talk about the top 10 DC superheroes. Number 10, Booster Gold.
What can you say about Booster Gold?
He's a comedian,
A little bit.
a time traveler,
Indeed.
using advanced technology.
Right. He took advantage of one of Arthur C. Clarke's laws. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Ergo, Booster Gold, sort of a lame showman from the future.
He was kind of a celebrity superhero in a way.
Well, kind of, yeah, and that was sort of his goal. He wanted to draw the attention of the Justice League, to become a member of the Justice League. But where he was from, he was just an actor, and all he had to look up to was a bunch of statues, because the Justice League was long gone in the future that he's from.
Mm-hmm.
They were in a different incarnation.
Right.
So he stole a bunch of time travel technology, stole a bunch of advanced weaponry and stuff that would make him appear as a superhero, and jumped back into time when the Justice League was being formed and started fighting crime to catch the attention of Batman himself to be recruited to the Justice League. It was only after a mild scuffle with Batman himself that it was revealed that he was sort of a fraud, but he could still do some good because his heart was in the right place. He wanted to do good. He wanted to be a member of the Justice League. So I'm okay with him on this list.
Okay.
Definitely number 10, but I'm okay with it.
This brings us to number 9, Green Arrow.
The Green Arrow. Sort of might be a reimagining of Batman. Basically, someone sort of cashing in on all the Batman ideas,
Except he's green.
except he's green. But fights at night, wears a cowl, is a billionaire playboy by day, crime fighter by night, owns Queen Industries, but instead of a cape, he has a quiver. And in this quiver, he keeps arrows. All sorts of really cool things come out of these arrows. The most infamous of which is the punch in the face arrow. Literally a giant boxing glove on the tip of an arrow that he would shoot at people and punch them in the face to knock them out. Most of his tactics, non-lethal. A little bit of a turn from where most people nowadays are affiliated with the Arrow. That's Stephen Amell's portrayal of the Green Arrow on the show Arrow. He's done a really good job, but the first couple of seasons, he went way dark, which again draws similarity to the Dark Knight himself.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
But Batman did it first. Batman came out in 1938, and the Green Arrow was introduced in 1941.
Ah.
Next.
Okay, this brings us to number 8, John Constantine.
You love John Constantine.
I do. How did you know that? You know me too well. He's pretty.
It was one of the first comic book shows that we watched together, was Constantine.
Yes.
Who played him in that show?
Matt Ryan.
Yeah. And actually what's kind of cool about that is that Matt Ryan has continued to voice John Constantine. So someone in DC really likes him for that portrayal.
Well, Constantine is a gatekeeper for all things supernatural.
Yeah, again, this is another one of those, like, he's just a dude. So, like, our first 3 dudes on this list are just a dude, but they got some cool stuff about them.
Well, he's a skilled magician and resident demon fighter. I mean, that's so cool. He's a demon fighter. I mean, what's more cool than that?
Yeah, well, he taps into the dark arts to fight darkness. It's pretty awesome. I got no problems with that. He's a terrible smoker, though.
He wears a good trench coat, though.
Oh, yeah. And they even made a movie, Constantine, I think it was in the 90s. But it was starring Keanu Reeves as John Constantine. Wherein in the end of the movie, he saved the world, and the devil reached into his chest and pulled out all the black tar because he was constantly at death's doorstep because of his smoking. But the devil wasn't quite done with him, because sometimes the devil needs a little bit of good to do his deeds. So Constantine sort of walks that fine line between good and evil.
Well, he's protecting.
Leans toward the side of good.
He's protecting the planet from the spawn of hell itself.
Well, yeah. So who's next on your list, love?
Okay, we're down to number 7, Aquaman.
Aquaman. Fish boy.
Jason Momoa.
Mimosa?
I had a lot of mimosas today.
He's a tall drink of water, but I wouldn't call him Jason Mimosa.
I had a lot of mimosas today, so I got a little mixed mimosa. I still can't say his freaking name. Oh my
King
god.
of the Seven Seas was at one point affiliated with the Justice League, but broke from the Justice League because he became an eco-warrior. As his mission was to protect the planet and to save the city of Atlantis, he took it upon himself to destroy all things that were polluting the ocean, which is what he saw as the most viable part of the Earth's ecosystem. Without the ocean, Atlantis doesn't exist. If Atlantis doesn't exist, then there's no Aquaman, no planet. Planet's doomed. So he started bombing oil rigs. He started destroying oil tankers. Anybody who was polluting the ocean, he went after them. Like, with furious vengeance.
But he still protected the creatures of the ocean, big and small.
Yeah, that too.
Yes. Yes. You have to admit he's kind of a badass.
Good for Fish Boy.
Fish Boy. Yes. Good for Fish Boy.
Jason Momoa definitely made Aquaman relevant again and pretty badass. In fact, we even have a picture of him on our wall, which I just keep telling myself that, oh, we're just geeks. That's why that's up there.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Who's next? Okay. We got a bit of a man crush?
He's a handsome man.
Okay, we're moving on. Number six, Martian Manhunter.
I was like Martian Manhunter, also known as J'onn J'onzz. Some say that he is the most powerful.
Yeah, most powerful superhero.
What are his powers?
He's psychic, his physical and sensory abilities, and he's a frickin' alien. Yeah, I mean, that's just cool. Take me to your leader.
So far from the Martian Manhunter. What's wrong with you? It's so much cooler. Yes, he has psychic abilities. He can change his physical form and disintegrate his matter so that he can go through walls. He can become super strong by pulling his molecules together and creating a solid surface that's harder than anything. And he has sensory perception. He can read people's minds, telepathy. He can even change physical matter with this mental telepathy. There was a really cool comic book whose name eludes me right now, but Justice League captures the Joker. Martian Manhunter remolds the Joker's brain so that he's normal. And then reforms his own brain to think like the Joker. And this causes all sorts of chaos because now with Martian Manhunter's abilities and the mind of the Joker, he sort of runs amok for a little bit, but then they fix it. But the Joe Chill, or I forget whoever they had, who was the Joker, that his brain was normal, but he was still able to remember all the horrible things that he did as the Joker. And he was just racked with guilt and like wanted to kill himself. So then Batman and the Martian Manhunter had to basically re-warp his brain. So still letting the Joker live, because Batman doesn't like to kill anybody. And he eventually escaped, and he was out in the wilds again for Batman to catch him one more time. But it was just a really cool episode, or a really cool comic book that showed the true power of the Martian Manhunter and his mind melding and molding abilities.
Okay, this brings us to number 5, Wonder Woman. The most powerful, not the most powerful, the most famous female comic book hero.
Well, arguably the most powerful.
So,
at least so far as the DC Universe is concerned.
She is pretty powerful.
because I mean, there's Captain Marvel in Marvel Universe, and she's supposed to be the most powerful mutant, but Wonder Woman.
Very much a favorite of mine.
I know you love the Wonder Woman so much. She was Diana, kind of drawn from ancient Greek legends, and she was created by her mother and out of the clay from Themyscira and given life by the gods to become the most powerful protector of their Amazon people. Well, actually, they were all Amazon women. They were all created from the same clay. But Wonder Woman was the creation of the queen. So she gets to be the coolest.
And she actually liked men.
Yeah, the Amazons. Kind of hot when you think about it, honestly.
Oh, shut up. Oh my god, typical male.
But no, Wonder Woman is an amazing character, a great symbol for female empowerment, showing with force that the superhero game was not just for the boys, that there was a place for women in the universe as well. And she helped to spawn many other female characters and strong female leads throughout other books.
Okay.
Did I earn some credit back?
Yes, you get credit. I'll give you credit.
Is that succinct enough for
yes.
you about, like, I'm actually all for
women's I'll give you a fucking gold star.
Like a regular gold star, only slightly sexy like.
Shut up. Okay, that's enough out of you. All right, let's go on to number 4, Green Lantern.
You and I both love Green Lantern.
Yes.
And you know what? I will even allow Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, as much as it was like lambasted and just like, it was really bad. It really was. But I liked the exploration of the character and how they went back to the home planet of the Green Lantern Corps, because ultimately he's a space cop.
Our 5-year-old daughter liked that movie.
Yeah, because it was fun and there was lots of colors, and Ryan Reynolds, another pretty man.
Okay, I really don't think our 5-year-old cares about pretty men, but I do.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, let's go on to number 3, Flash.
Here, why don't you expound a little bit more on Green Lantern? I have to escape really quickly and break up a cat fight on my porch. I'll be right back.
Yes. Green Lantern. His ring.
Talk about his power ring.
His power ring created.
Who gave him the power ring?
His power ring was created by the Guardians of the Universe. Therefore, speculate that he also could be one of the most powerful superheroes. So,
crisis averted. I am the superhero of the night.
Yes, come forth, superhero. Okay, let's move on to number 3.
Did you talk about the power of will and imagination?
I really didn't get very far. We had a bit of a pause.
Okay, so Green Lantern, all the powers of his ring controlled by his will and his imagination. So long as he believes in himself, and so long as he believes in himself, and so long as he can stand against evil and stand for right and truth, then he has all the power of the universe attached to his finger. In brightest day, In darkest night, no evil shall escape his might. Green Lantern Oath. You know it.
Yeah, I do know
know
it.
it.
I know it. And this brings us to number 3, Flash.
Whoa,
The fastest man alive.
Oh, that Flash. No, of course I know which Flash you're talking about. He's been a favorite character of mine since I first saw him. Well, he was portrayed on television as the Flash. I think he was Jay Garrick in that incarnation.
Yes.
But he's also been Barry Allen. He's also been... There's been a couple of different versions of the Flash. Because the Flash, one of his powers, is he can do what we were talking about a couple of episodes ago, where we were still fumbling and stumbling over things. But he has the cosmic treadmill, which, as silly as that sounds, is basically a treadmill that he can run fast, almost as fast as the speed of light. And so he was able to run on the treadmill and produce enough energy to break and bend the time-space continuum so that he could go anywhere within the space-time continuum. But he also went into different universes, which was sort of the basis for the DC multiverse. This is another good CW show that we have loved for years. Grant Gustin plays an amazing Barry Allen. And I really enjoy watching that show. It's campy, it's cheesy, but it's got what the creator, and where I heard it was Kevin Smith, that it's got heart, humor, and science. It's another H word, but I couldn't remember what it was. Heart, humor, heroics. That's what it is. And I have bawled my eyes out at that show just as much as my favorite director, Kevin Smith. But it's a good show. I love The Flash. He's a pretty awesome character. And number 3 is a pretty good place for him.
I agree. All right, this brings us to number 2, Batman. The most popular of superheroes.
By far. I mean, honestly, like, there's you could fall on either side between Batman and Superman, but honestly, Batman has more movies. Batman has way more TV shows. He's kind of the tops. Because I think that, like, more people relate to Batman than Superman, because Batman is, at his core, just a dude.
Well, he has a conflicted sense of darkness.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not a conflicted sense of darkness so much as he's just all about justice. Like he like justice at any cost. I mean, even because even when he like helped to found the Super Friends, he also knew that at some point any one of those Super Friends could turn evil. So he developed a contingency plan, and using his skills as the world's greatest detective, he found each of his friends, his Super Friends, if you will, he found each of their greatest weaknesses, so that in the eventuality, or in the case of them turning evil, he would be able to even bring his hammers of justice against his greatest friends and alliances. That committed to justice. You don't get that from anybody else. So, he would be my number 1, but we're coming to the number one on this list, which is
Superman, the most recognizable superhero ever created.
Again, I think we just like disputed that. But Superman definitely known throughout the world. But he's an alien. He's not of this world. So,
full of truth and justice.
Truth, justice, and the American way.
And a lot of muscles.
Well, he had lots of muscles, but like, did he actually like? I mean, honestly, he's a he's an alien from another world. Does he really need all of his muscles? I mean, like, does he have to be muscular? I mean, he can fly, which was not an original part of his trope. I mean, like, really, like, again, like when Superman was first envisioned, he was just like a super strong dude. He was really fast, faster than a speeding bullet, able to outrun a locomotive, leap tall buildings in a single bound, couldn't fly, but could jump really fucking high. So he was, over the years though, he's become more and more super. His mythos has grown so much that they pretty much raised him up to the status of demigod. But ultimately, he's an orphan alien, and that's kind of like why him and Batman get along so well.
My mom's name is Martha too.
But exactly. And so, like, but that's why they made kind of the first Super Friends, is because they both realized that they could recognize right from wrong. And so they wanted to join up together to fight the forces of evil and protect the planet Earth, Superman's foster home. And so they took guardianship of it and they created the Justice League. If that ain't kicking the nuts, I don't know what is.
Okay, this is Two Nuts in the Sack signing off. Goodbye.